Hello friends, welcome to Kakatiya IAS Academy. Today we will discuss some of the questions based upon Hindu newspaper. The very first question, the objectives of NAFED includes promote and develop marketing, processing and storage of agriculture, horticulture and forest produce, distribution of agriculture machinery, implements and other inputs. Which of the above are true? Choose the correct code. Only 2 and 3, only 1 and 3, only 1 and 2, D, all the above. Answer is all the above. So NAFED is involved in promote and developing of marketing, processing and storage of agriculture, horticulture and forest produce, distribution of agriculture machinery, implements and other inputs. Coming to second question. Second question is also based upon the same topic, that is on NAFED. Which of the following are procured by NAFED? Oil seeds, wheat, cotton, spices. So NAFED is primarily involved in procurement of horticulture products, vegetables, fruits, etc. So here it is involved in procurement of pulses, oil seeds, etc. So except wheat, all other are procured by NAFED. So oil seeds, cotton and spices. So it is in this primarily NAFED is involved. So answer is 1, 3 and 4. So wheat and rice are procured by Food Corporation of India. Third question, which of the following pairs with regard to biofertilizers and crops are correctly matched? Right? So which of the following pairs with regard to biofertilizers and crops are correctly matched? Rhizobium for leguminous crops, Azotobacter for cereals, millets, vegetables and other horticultural crops, Azospirillum for maize, bajra and potato, Azotobacter for sugarcane and sugar beet. Right? So all the above are correct. So all these questions are based upon NAFED and you can get the information from the home page of NAFED. So you can get the site here. I mentioned the site also along with the questions. Right? So coming to fourth question. Fourth question is on Food Corporation of India, that is FCI. So consider the following statements about FCI. It determines once in a year prices applicable for Rabi and Kharif crops. Prices are determined once in a year applicable for Rabi and Kharif crops. Coming to fourth question. Fourth question is on Food Corporation of India. Consider the following statements about Food Corporation of India. Prices are determined once in a year applicable for Rabi and Kharif crops. Prices are based upon the recommendations of Commission of Agriculture Costs and Prices. Costs of various agriculture inputs are considered. Coming to fourth question. Consider the following statements about MSP given by FCI. It is determined once in a year applicable for Rabi and Kharif crops. It is based upon recommendations of Commission of Agriculture Costs and Prices, CACP. Cost of various agriculture inputs are considered. Right? So MSP is determined by FCI for both Rabi and Kharif crops. The first statement saying that it is determined once in an year. So it is wrong. So MSP is determined for every Rabi and Kharif crops separately. For each Rabi and Kharif crops. Not once in a year, it is for each Rabi and Kharif crops. That is separately for Rabi and Kharif. So first statement is wrong. It is 2 and 3. So all these first 4 questions are based upon the article published in the Hindu paper, where the Hindu article published in the editorial column saying that a grain stockist with a role still relevant. Right? So in the middle of pandemic, the FCI holds the key to warding off a looming crisis of hunger and starvation. So this is what the article published in the Hindu paper. So let us have a glance on this article. So what does this article talks about? So article talks about the role of FCI. So FCI, which was created in 1964 through Food Corporation Act, right, where the FCI was at the forefront of India's quest for self-sufficiency in rice and wheat following the Green Revolution, managing procurement and stocking grains that supported a vast public distribution system. So Food Corporation of India was established in 1964 under the Food Corporation Act of India, right? So with an aim of managing procurement and stocking grains to support PDS, right? And FCI stood at the forefront in the quest for self-sufficiency in rice and wheat, particularly in the aftermath of Green Revolution. But over a time, there was a criticism against FCI, where it was said that FCI has failed in its purpose, right? So its operations were regarded as expensive and inefficient, a perception that has been accepted, right, in the decades of 1970s and 80s. The poor storage conditions and a loss of grain, right, particularly because of rats, and even there was a word used called as human rats. So loss of grains in the godowns. So there was a criticism against FCI, and this criticism went to question the credibility of FCI. But today FCI is key in meeting the food supplies in the crisis created by the pandemic, and FCI is uniquely placed to meet these challenges of hunger and malnutrition, right? So there are certain advantages. So FCI has consistently maintained the PDS, which is a lifeline for vulnerable millions across the country, right? So FCI also enabled purchases by states and NGOs, right, directly from the FCI depots. So doing away from the existing e-auctions typically conducted for open market sales scheme, right? And FCI in the recent past has pre-positioned itself, right, to meet the requirements at the local levels, at the ground levels. So FCI already has decentralized network of godowns so that the food is available at the near to the hotspots, right? So shipment of grains is stored, right, shipment where grain is stored closer to the demands of hotspots. So this is a novel approach which has been adopted by FCI. Instead of serving from the headquarters, now FCI has moved towards it has moved nearer to the hotspots. So there is a strong case for the central government to look beyond PDS and Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana and release stocks over and above the existing allocations. So because of the existing crisis, so we should not stick to the allocations made under PDS or the programs like Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana, right? So it needs to be moved beyond this approach, right? So where higher allocations should be granted to the states, right? So now FCI typically follows the principle of first in and first out principle. It typically follows the principle of first in and first out, that mandates that grains that has been procured earlier needs to be dispersed and needs to be distributed first to ensure that older stocks are liquidated both across year and even within a particular year. So this principle of first in and first out should be given away so that there is a faster movement of grains, right, across the country and across the time, right? So FCI along with the NAFED, right, now they are in better place to procure food grains directly from the farmers, because today a trend has been developed where farmers are directly selling their products to the consumers. So to break this supply chain, FCI along with NAFED, so there is a mention about NAFED also, because NAFED is also involved in procurement of food grains. So NAFED is particularly involved in procurement of vegetables, fruits, spices, horticulture products, commercial crops, right? Uh, so FCI and along with NAFED, now they had better managerial practices where they can break this new trend and ensure the food grains are procured by these warehouses. Right. So this is the advantages that FCI and NAFED has. So FCI has not lost its relevance. FCI has more relevance now in the context of growing malnutrition as well as hunger deaths. So if FCI is not properly managed, the deaths caused by hunger and malnutrition will be more than the deaths caused by the pandemic COVID-19. Right. So this is the article. So it is based upon this article, right? These first four questions are framed. Coming to fifth question. Fifth question is on MPLADS, right? So recently the government of India has suspended the MPLAD schemes for 2 years, right? So based upon this, a question was framed, right? The MPLAD is a plan scheme fully funded by government of India. The annual MPLAD funds question is based upon this issue of MPLADs. Coming to the question, consider the following statements. The MPLADs is a plan scheme fully funded by government of India. The annual MPLADs fund entitlements per MP constituency is rupees 5 crores. Second statement, nominated members of both Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha can recommend works anywhere in the country under MPLAD scheme. Which of the above are true, right? So both these are true. So nominated members of both Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha can recommend works in any part of India under MPLAD scheme, right? So MPLAD stands for Member of Parliament Local Area Development Scheme. It is local area development scheme. So it is fully centrally sponsored scheme. It is fully centrally funded scheme where the annual funds given to a MP constituency is 5 crores, right? So this is the this question is based upon the article published in the Hindu paper, right? It has appeared in the editorial column of Hindu paper where it says that MPLADs, its suspension and why it must go. There are 5 reasons why MPLAD scheme must be abolished. So this is the article published. So this MPLAD scheme, for the first time, it was introduced in 1993 during the government of Prime Minister P.V. Narasimha Rao, right? So the MPLAD scheme approved by cabinet. So that is recently the government of India has suspended this MPLAD scheme for 2 years. So the government's reason is this. The government reason was to use these funds to strengthen the government's effort in managing the challenges and adverse impact of COVID-19 in the country, right? Such a political, so opposition parties have criticized this move of the government, right? So here under this MPLAD scheme, the member of parliament has a choice to suggest the district collector for works to the tune of 5 crores per annum to be taken up in his or her constituency, right? So there was opinion of not just suspending this program for 2 years, but it should be more than 2 years. That is, there was an opinion to suspend this program for all together. So there are reasons given. So we will discuss all these reasons, the entire context when I discuss articles important for mains exam. So as of now, as we are focusing only on prelims, I don't want to go into depth, right? So when I discuss for mains, it will be more clear. Right? So this is what about the MPLAD scheme. Right? So you can get the information from the Wikaspedia. So I took this information, and much information is present in Wikaspedia. Coming to sixth question. Sixth question is on, consider the following statements. Procedure established by law as mentioned in Article 21 of the Constitution is a basic feature of the Constitution. Second statement, right to privacy is exactly defined in the Constitution and interpreted by court of law. So the concept of procedure established by law is mentioned in Article 21 of the Constitution, and it is a basic feature of the Constitution. First statement is correct. Right to privacy is exactly defined in the Constitution. It is not exactly defined in the Constitution. So this right to privacy, for the first time, it has been regarded as a part of fundamental rights in Puttaswamy versus Union of India case, where Supreme Court held that right to privacy should be defined on a case-to-case basis. So there cannot be a single definition of right to privacy. It should be evolved on a case-to-case basis. So there is no exact definition of this word right to privacy. So second statement is wrong. So only one correct. Question is based upon the article published in the Hindu paper again, right, which appeared in the editorial column, where app for one season. Arogya Setu has sparked concerns. It cannot be made mandatory without legal backing. Right. So this is the issue on Arogya Setu app. The center's directive for mandatory use of contact tracing app Arogya Setu as a part of its COVID-19 combat measures falls short of established legal standards for protecting the privacy of individuals. So this COVID app, the mandatory use of mandatory use of Arogya Setu app, it is against to the established legal standards for protection of privacy. Very firstly, it is against the judgment given by Supreme Court in KS Puttaswamy case, that is Puttaswamy versus Union of India case. So government has no power to make the apps use compulsory without legislative authorization. Right? So there is no legislative guidance for the app's purpose, functioning, and the nature of use of the sensitive personal data it collects. So there is no legislation directing the use, functioning, and the usage of data collected to this app. So this is what the criticism against the Arogya Setu app. So we have one principle in our constitution called as procedure established by law. Every act of the executive should be in accordance with the procedure given by the law. That is, every act of the executive should be in accordance with the law. So any act of executive without a law, it is contrary to the constitution. It is a violation of constitution. Right? So this is what clearly states by our constitution in Article 21 through the concept of procedure established by law. And even the judiciary has innovated a doctrine called as due process of law. Not only the procedure are given by law, but the law given should be just and fair, just and kind. So justness and fairness of the law is also upheld, right? That is both procedure established by law as well as due process of law. Both are regarded, both should be followed by the executive in its functioning, right? So it is in this context this question has been framed out, right? So if you take the other legislation, so Government of India has cited the usage of the same app, usage of similar contact tracing apps by other countries, say for example EU. So here EU has laid down clear guidelines to this effect with respect to the use of app, right, where the EU guideline clearly states that it should be a voluntary, use. So this is one thing. Similarly, the Israel Supreme Court has struck down emergency powers given to the intelligence agencies to trace the phone location without enabling legislation. Right? This is what another point. Without enabling legislations. So similarly is Australia. So whatever the case we are discussing, whatever the example we are using, there is a clear guideline. If the case of EU, so in EU, the law clearly says that, the guidelines clearly states that it should be a voluntary use. Right? In Israel, the Supreme Court said that there should be an enabling legislation. Right? So there is a clear case for a law to use the Aarogya Setu app. Right? So this is what about the sixth question. Coming to seventh question. Seventh question is about right to life mentioned in Article 21 includes. So right to life mentioned in Article 21 includes right to water, medical care, shelter, decent environment. Which of them is true? All the above are correct. Right to life mentioned in Article 21 includes water, medical care, shelter, decent environment. So Supreme Court, while hearing, right, Supreme Court has allowed to hear a bill filed by the Congress MP Jairam Ramesh seeking universal coverage under the public distribution system and food security for all amid an acute food shortage due to ongoing nationwide lockdown. Right? So the bill has sought relaxation in the requirement of ration cards for supply of ration under the PDS, right, to help mitigate the food shortages and prevent deaths of the poor. So a bill filed by the Congress MP for seeking universal coverage under the PDS and food security for all in order to prevent the deaths, in order to prevent hunger deaths. Right? So the petitioner has argued that there have been more numerous deaths due to starvation since commencement of lockdown. Right? Similar, right? Another thing. So in the past, the Honorable Supreme Court of India has suspended the requirement of. In the past, the Honorable Supreme Court suspended the requirement of releasing ration against ration cards in situations of drought. So Supreme Court, while delivering judgment in Swaraj Abhiyan 2 versus Union of India case, clearly stated that it would be inappropriate for the state government to deprive any households in drought affected areas of the requirement of food grains merely because they do not have a ration card. So, simply the summary of this judgment of Supreme Court in Swaraj Abhiyan versus Union of India case is that non-possessing of ration cards cannot be a ground for denying providing of food grains, particularly in drought affected areas. That is, food grains should be distributed to all, irrespective of possessing of ration cards, right, in the drought affected districts. This is what the summary of the judgment given by Supreme Court in Swaraj Abhiyan versus Union of India case. Right? Supreme Court had earlier on different occasions observed that right to life enshrined under Article 21 implies the right to food, water, a decent environment, education, medical care and shelter, and it is intrinsic to the survival of individual. It is intrinsic to our survival. So this is what the Supreme Court judgment. Right? So it is in this context this question was framed. Next, coming to another question on African swine flu. Which of the following animals or birds is worst affected by African swine flu? Domestic and wild pigs, dholes and dogs, cattle, monkey. Right? Answer is domestic and wild pigs. Domestic and wild pigs. So this question is based upon the recent report, right, on pigs being killed in Assam. So there was a report in Hindu paper. Swine flu puts wildlife officials on alert. Right? The recovery of pig carcasses from the stretch of Brahmaputra river flowing through the Kaziranga National Park has alarmed wildlife officials in Assam. Right? So the pig farmers disposing the carcasses in the Brahmaputra and its tributaries after the outbreak of African swine fever in the mid-April. Right? So this is the a report from Assam. So African swine fever, also called as African swine flu, right? It kills domestic and wild pigs. Right? It first appeared in the East and North African countries, which has no vaccine, which has no medicine till now. Right? So it is regarded as one of the dangerous diseases. Right? So it is in this context the question was framed. Coming to another question, coming to ninth question, the equipment named UV blaster, which is which is a disinfection tower for rapid and chemical-free disinfection of infection-prone areas, is developed by. So UV blaster, which is an disinfection tower, which is a disinfection tower for rapid and chemical-free disinfection of infection-prone areas. Is developed by it is developed by DRDO, right? So recently, that is the equipment named UV blaster is useful for high-tech surfaces like electronic equipments, computers and other gadgets in laboratories and offices that are not suitable for disinfection with chemical methods. So it is developed by DRDO, right? DRDO by its Laser Science and Technology Center, which is based in Delhi. Right? It is an arm of DRDO which has designed this UV blaster. Right? So this is the issue. Coming to 10th question. Now, right? Consider the following statements about non-aligned movement. Non-aligned movement has no formal constitution or permanent secretariat. All members of non-aligned movement have equal weights within its organization. The NAM held its first conference, which is also called as Belgrade Conference, in 1967. Which of the above are true? Choose the correct code. Right? So NAM has no formal constitution or permanent secretariat. All the members of NAM have equal weight within the organizations. Both 1 and 2 are correct. The NAM held its first meeting in Belgrade, also called as Belgrade Conference, in 1961, but not in 1967. So third statement is wrong. So answer is 1 and 2. Question is based upon the article published in the Hindu paper, where in the virtual meet, right? In the virtual meet of contact group of NAM, right? The Prime Minister has supported a more representative world order and urged WHO to focus on building health capacity in the developing countries. The Prime Minister of India gave a call for all-inclusive representative world order and urged international institutions like WHO to take and build health capacity among the underdeveloping countries. And he also referred he has made an indirect reference to Pakistan, right, which is fomenting terrorism in the midst of the global pandemic. So it is the virtual meet of contact group members of NAM, right? So it is based upon this article. Right? This question was framed. Now, these are the questions which are based upon May 5th news. May 5th news taken from Hindu paper. Let us move towards May 4th, which I failed to cover. The first question on May 4th. Consider the following statements about Integrated Disease Surveillance Program. Right? So the IDSP was initiated by World Bank in November 2004 to 2010 for the whole nation. IDSP was made a part of National Rural Health Mission in 2007-2008. Which of the above are true? Both are correct. So IDSP, Integrated Disease Surveillance Project or program, was first started in 2004 with the help of with the fund support of World Bank. It was made a part of NRHM in 2007-8. Both are correct. Which of the health programs being run? Second question. Which of the health programs being run under National Center for Disease Control? Right? Health programs being run under National Center for Disease Control. National Rabies Control Program, Program for Prevention and Control of Leptospirosis, Integrated Disease Surveillance Program. So all of them, all of them are a part of National Center for Disease Control, right? So all the above is true. All of them are true, right? So you can get this information from the official site of idsp.nic.in, right? So as well as you can get the information from pib.gov.in. So here you can find the links, right? So you can use these links to go to get the original information. So this first and second questions are based upon the editorial column published in the Hindu newspaper, where it reads that India's disease surveillance system needs a reboot. There is enough reason to fear a combination of COVID-19 with the existing illness and medical complications in India, right? So the data shows that the death data shows that higher deaths are reported, right, in that age group which are above of 60. That is patients who are above the age of 60 have maximum deaths, and 83% of these deaths caused because of COVID-19 are not just because of COVID-19, they are caused because of pre-existing illness. So the pre-existing illness got complicated with the attack of this COVID-19, right? And because of this, there is higher deaths among the people in the age group above of 60 years, right? So it is in this context this this question was framed. Coming to next question, coming to third question, who of the following acted as chairman of All India Khilafat Committee? Hakim Azmal Khan, Muhammad Ali, Mahatma Gandhi, Maulana Abdul Kalam Azad. Answer is Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi was the chairman of All India Khilafat Committee. Congress Khilafat Swaraj Party was formed by C.R. Das, Motilal Nehru, Rajendra Prasad, Mahatma Gandhi. So here we have a combination. So it is Motilal Nehru and C.R. Das who formed this Congress Khilafat Swaraj Party. So this third and fourth questions are based upon the article published in the Hindu paper, where there was a report on Khilafat non-cooperation, where Hindu paper from its archives of 1920 talked about, it has reported on the political meeting held on political meeting of Hindus and Muslims, right, as a part on the subject of Khilafat and non-cooperation, right? So here, as a part of this meeting, C. Rajagopalachari, while addressing the meeting, has answered all the adverse criticisms made by C.P. Ramaswamy Iyer and Subramaniam Iyer. So Ramaswamy Iyer was also a General Secretary of Home Rule Movement, right, where they made comments where they have criticized, right, through the volumes of New India. So New India is a weekly brought out by Annie Besant as a part of Home Rule Movement, right? So it is in this context both third and fourth questions were framed. Coming to fifth question. So fifth question is based upon the communication channels, right, where the question states that consider the following statements. A geostationary satellite is in geostationary orbit and keeps the satellite fixed over a longitude at the equator. So geostationary satellites are placed in a fixed orbits over one longitude at the equator. Communication satellites are often placed in geostationary orbit, whereas weather satellites are placed in the polar orbits. Which of the above are true? So remember, weather satellites are also placed on geostationary orbits, not in polar orbits. Second one is wrong, only one is correct, right? So weather satellites are also placed in geostationary orbits. So you can get this information from the Science Direct. So this information, this question is picked from Science Direct. So based upon the article published in the Hindu paper, where Hindu paper states that center drafts new rules for satellite TV channels. Right. So it is in this context that a question has been picked from the geostationary orbits. Right. So I hope you have enjoyed the class. Right. Thank you.